Hey everybody, Thomas here. So I'm too stubborn. Literally, I just blew the blade up on this old pine log here within not much to go. Now, you should always wear gloves when you're taking the blade off. I did not. Now I have blood all over my pants, but I am too stubborn to actually take this off with the chainsaw. I want to actually see if I can cut through with the sawmill blade. Oh yeah. One more should go. Maybe. Even with gloves on, I can feel this trying to cut through. Woo! Almost got my wife. But this blade has been sharpened many times, and I might actually go look into this because, well, I've got some weird deformation of the teeth. I don't know what happened here exactly, but this blade literally has been used since I put it on for 2 cuts and it blew up. But I think this blade's probably been sharpened quite a few times. I'm actually going to see if I can use my wife's microscope and see if there's any fractures or something like that in the gullets. I think this blade's reached the end of life, so we'll see. But yeah, I'll break that down later. Let's make sure we didn't hit anything in the wood. Nope, nothing in the wood. Looks a nice clean cut. Even my hand sawing was not too bad, but it was like literally the last inch or so. So right now all I'm doing is cutting 2x4s out of this current pine log here, because I'm currently working on a lean-to off the side of the shop. Okay, now through the magic of editing, I somehow appeared over here next to the building, and it's a day later. But so talking about on the sawmill, we blew up that one log. However, we were still able to cut up into some nice looking boards. This is what I'm currently working on. So the other day I went to the store and I went to go look at 6x6s, 14 foot long, to put into the ground. Now, if you look, the only store-bought wood on this entire building that I built over here, my wife's carport, shop, and lean-to, are these 4 posts right here. Those were pressure-treated posts. The rest of my posts out here are actually oak posts, and they're actually on concrete piers. You can see that little metal tab sticking up there. They're actually not into the ground. The ones that go into the ground, they are in fact pressure-treated pine. Now on the back side, I have 6x6 posts across the lean-to off the back. But again, I went to the store the other day, and the prices of 6x6 pressure-treated pine at 14 foot long were ridiculous. I said, screw that. I will cut it myself out of my own cedar. These are 6x6s. And I think actually some of these were probably like 15 foot long. Whatever the length of the log was, I cut it up to a 6x6. As you can see, I've actually got to go back with the chainsaw and kind of cut that up. This lean-to off the side here, the opening is 10 foot, which means my top pieces here they're actually slightly longer than 12 foot. When I actually come back through here with the chainsaw, I will make all those the same. But anyways, I'm going to be putting 12 foot 10 across the top of this. That'll give me about a 2 foot overhang. No issue there. Now these boards right here, you see there is a little S shape to them. That's actually one oak board. It was slightly over 1.25 inches by 5 inches. I was just like, what can I do for a header board? I'm actually going to have that board there, and then on the inside, butted up, I want to make sure I have 2 connection points, because I don't have to use those silly store-bought hurricane straps. I feel that if I have 2 connections on the front and back, it'll be ample enough for hurricane winds and stuff like that. And I'll do a little bit better connection because it's going to be multi-point. Now, these rafters here tie into the actual studs on the building. And by doing so, that prevents me from having to use hurricane straps over there. I'm trying to make sure that I can do everything without the use of any kind of store-bought materials other than like screws and nails and stuff like that. So, you know, I don't know what I was thinking, but hurricane season is not over until the end of November. And I cannot believe this, but Hurricane Delta, which just became a Cat 4 hurricane today, which is insane. That hurricane is now making its way towards Louisiana, and once it hits Lake Louisiana, I guess a little finger down there where Homa and Morgan City and all that is. It's going to be making a hard right turn, and it'll probably be going over here. Now, we don't anticipate to have really strong winds, maybe up to 65, maybe some gusts up to 70, maybe, based on our location here in Mississippi, but we shall see. But what I have to do, I actually need to work on finishing up the front face as well as the back face of the building. And I always like to wait to the last minute on things, so son of a gun. So long story short, I'm going to try to get this kind of filled in. I'll do wood here, and I'll put some plywood pieces up where the windows are. And I may put something across the opening here so I don't get all that blown in weather. During the last hurricane, Hurricane Sally, which went to our east, my wife and son worked really hard, and they actually got a lot of the wood that had stored outside, put it into here. So my shop is an absolute disaster right now with how much crap I have in here. But the wood is nice and dry, and it's really easy to get to. So I appreciate the help on that, but I've got a lot of work to do and only a few days, because we're expected landfall now is Saturday morning, and today is Tuesday afternoon. So yeah, so each afternoon I'll be working out here quite intensely to try to get this cleaned up, but I think we're going to make some great progress. So stay tuned, and I'll do some updating, or maybe I'll show some cutting wood. I'll show something. Again, also, I'll continue to talk about this until the day of the 24th of October up in Tennessee. Looking forward to it. Can't wait. It's going to be a great time had by all. It's going to be the sawmill show with the Timber King 1400 diesel mill, as well as my 2000 diesel mill. So we'd love to have you all out there if you're in the area and you want to come by and see what all owning a sawmill and cutting wood and, you know, kind of being self-sustaining is all about. It's a good old time. My dad's been doing a lot of work on the project to get it ready, and we're just very excited. So stay tuned, more to come, and have fun. Okay, so that actually worked out pretty well. We got all these rafters put up there. Now they are screwed into the studs on the building side. They have not been screwed into this side here. I will do that here momentarily. I'm not going to bore you with the film on that. That's pretty easy. But again, this is all wood that I've cut here, of course, like I said. Cedar posts and everything. I've got pine, I've got oak, I got a little bit whatever. It's whatever I have and whatever I was cutting kind of thrown together. The front face, I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. And if you see this large opening here, this large opening is there because I'm going to add a lean-to off the front. I'm going to go for the old school storefront look. So let me back up here and you can see this a little bit better. So I'm probably going to come back. I was initially, you know, I've actually got oak that goes all the way across there behind that pine. But, I don't know what I was thinking. But long story short, the top of my stud wall is there. And then it stops because there's a big 6x6 behind there. and then there's some more top of the stud walls. What I'm probably going to do, and actually works out to my advantage, I'm probably going to come back with a true 2x6 that goes all the way across. I've left a foot of opening, so I can still put 2x4s, 2x5s, 2x6, whatever I decide to for the lean-to section. Now the lean-tos on the side here, like I said, the opening is 10 foot. The rafters themselves are 12, or slightly, since they're pushed into the wall, it's going to be slightly less than 12, and I'm going to be putting 12 foot 10 on that. I'll do the mirrored image on this side as well, but on the front side here, we're going to be doing 8 foot. So I'm going to have a concrete apron on the front, 6 foot out. I'll have 4 posts along the front here as well. I'm probably going to make them looking pretty rustic. I've got some round cedar posts, and I've also got some, actually the cedar posts over there, they're kind of like a rustic look, and I've also got a round poplar post. So I haven't figured out yet what the posts I'm going to use. It'll be something interesting, but long story short, 6 foot apron, 8 foot of metal off the front. Again, we'll have a 2 foot overhang to give it that neat little store front look. I think it'll look nice. And then, so I did this metal 4 foot wall here across the front. I'm going to do a little bit more on there. I actually don't think I'm going to do that on the sides where I have the wings, because you won't really see them. What I think I'm going to do, and we'll also add more structure to the building, is I'm going to come across these posts right here with metal just like that. So I'm going to do the 4 foot metal like this on the sides of the wings, and that will prevent any kind of rain from blowing in from the sides, because of what I'm going to store in here. Now on this side here, I haven't made up my mind. I may be putting my truck on this side. I don't know. My truck needs to be covered, so I'll probably be putting the truck on that side. But on the adjoining side, or the adjacent side over here, I will be putting wood, because currently I keep my wood in the back by the barn, and it's kind of a pain when customers come over and we're working at the sawmill. They're looking at some of the stuff that I have cut around the sawmill, but then they say they want to see something different, and I have to go all the way to the back. And sometimes I have some customers who are older, or have had surgery, or this, that, and the other, and we really can't, get to the back that easily, because it's kind of a ways back there. So by having everything right here in the front, will make it much more of a smooth process for people to view wood, and that's all fine and dandy. So again, try to get out here, make some headway on this building in preparation for the hurricane that is massively turning into a monster. So within 30 hours, it's went from tropical storm to a Cat 4, and we'll see what it does on the Yucatan, if it takes anything off there. And then it's projected currently to go into Louisiana, but it doesn't take much of a jog to the east before it really, really impacts us. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that. When Sally came through, I was fortunate enough to be out here during the highest peak winds we experienced. The highest peak winds that I think we saw were like 50, maybe some gusts up to 55, maybe. And I actually came out here at about 4 or 5 in the morning when the peak gusts were here, and I was in the building and I didn't hear any creaking, popping, or anything like that. So I think that's pretty good. I don't think the building even shimmied. Now around us, the trees were whipping around. We had limbs down, leaves like you wouldn't believe, filled up the pool with all sorts of stuff. But I felt very confident in the way the building was built, and that's a big plus. So now we're going to put it to the test again, round 2, with this next storm. Again, I don't think we're really going to experience anything greater than 45 to 50 miles per hour winds, but you never know. Again, if it jogs, in our case, about 40 miles to the east, and we may see 100-mile-an-hour winds. So we'll see. I've experienced up to about 70-mile winds here before. That was around Hurricane Nate, so that was a few years back. But other than that, very happy the way the building's come together. It has been slow, but I am a one-man show working on this, and I had to put a little video on this because I haven't added a video about the building in a while. But it is an absolute mess on the inside because all that wood in there from the last storms. My wife and son were awesome. They put it in there while I was at work, making sure that the ships and everything were safe. Again, I'm going to come through here. I'll put some more 1x boards up here. I'll leave my windows openings open, but I might have to come in and actually put some plywood there. And then the opening for the door, I haven't figured out what I'm going to do there yet. I might come back and just put some heavy duty plastic, but that could just get ripped away, so it'd be, you know, no value added. So we'll see. Next thing again is I've got to get all these sections over here tied in on the post side and get those posts, of course, trimmed. If you saw in the video there, yes, I'll do a chainsaw on the ladder as carefully as you can do a chainsaw on the ladder. But it all worked out well, and I will hopefully continue to work everything out well as I get those posts cleaned up. And then I've already got quite a few of my boards I'm going to use for my slats. These again are pine leftover pieces. These are actually 1x5s. I figure if I'm doing 1x5s, I can probably get away with 3 or 4. I haven't figured. I'll have to do at least 4 on there, but we'll see. I might change my mind, put something else completely. It just depends on the flavor of the day and what I'm cutting on the mill. So again, I do enjoy all the likes, the subscriptions, and everything. The channel has been growing, and I really appreciate that. And I think it's you know, good indication that people are interested in some of this stuff, and I'll continue putting out stuff that people are interested in. Next up on the docket for the sawmill, though, is I do have a couple jobs. I've got these are my pine logs here. These are pine logs for a job I've got to do for one of my buddies, so I'm giving him a pretty good deal. But this pine log here and a couple over there, funny story, I don't know if I've talked about this in the past, but my wife called me while I was at work one day. She said, honey, there's someone out here with a dump truck dropping off logs. You want me to go talk to him? I said, please do, because I have no idea who they are. Long story short, the guy's like, well, he's like, I live right down the road from you, and I see you out there cutting all the time. I was just going to leave a note to see if you can cut me as many 2x8s as you can out of this. I said, that's not a problem. I can do that, no problem. And then I have another pile. That pile that's right there, that's dropped off. I've been cutting logs for another guy. His son is building a barn dominium thing, so it's a barn with living quarters in it for him and his newlywed wife, so that's really cool. These logs right here actually go to these logs right here. And yeah, so long story short, I got logs all over the place. I really need to, I talked about this in the last other video, I think. I need to get my sycamore, which is over there underneath that big section right there. I need to get that sycamore going, and I desperately need to cut some more boards for the inside of the building, because I'm currently without walls. So again, thanks for watching, and I hope this is kind of interesting. More to come. Looking forward to the 24th October sawmill show up in Tennessee. I'm going to see if I can get a few of these jobs knocked out before I head up there. But I am very anxious to get up there and to meet some people and talk about sawmills and woodworking and whatever else you want to talk about. So stay tuned, have fun, be safe, and we'll see you around. Thanks.